have you been living in USA?
How long have I lived in the USA?
Have you left? Did you leave?
Oh, left. I left. I've been living here in Europe for approximately 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah. And I love it.
How come this change?
Well, because I was living in Los Angeles and the Tony McAlpine band, which I was working with, broke up. And I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? You know, because it was a very strange situation. I was kind of in a transition period. I had long hair, and I was known as this metal guy from the 80s, you know, and it was like, okay. I was going out on auditions. I wasn't getting gigs, and I thought, well, they seem to like me over in Europe. I was playing a lot in Holland and Germany. And I ended up talking to some friends I knew in Germany and Holland, and I moved to Holland, lived there for about 6 months, and started working in Germany. One thing led to the other. But I really, I'd have to say, me moving to Europe at the age of 37 was my renaissance. It was a rebirth for me because I thought it was over in Los Angeles. So basically, I put all my whole life in a storage locker in Los Angeles. I still have it. All my furniture and my old drum kits are in there. I got on a plane with my drum frame and a bag of cymbals, $10,000 US, and landed in Europe with no gig. And the money went fast.
So, sorry.
No, but I found my way. I'm a very lucky guy. There's a lot of guys that try this. Actually, maybe there's a lot of people that think about it but don't try it. Maybe they're not crazy enough. And then there's a lot of guys that do try and they end up going home because there's a language barrier, first of all. German people speaking German. Obviously, they're speaking English too, but not so much. And so I struggled with that. Struggled with the cultural differences. Struggled with the financial end of it, and then of course the music business itself is just a ball of confusion. So you're dealing with a lot of different variables. It's not easy.
And what's your future? Probably here in Europe, anyway.
My future here in Europe. You know, I don't really look too far into the future. I take every day as it comes. When I was younger, I used to make a lot of plans. And just when you think you're going this way, everything goes that way. So it's like, okay, I wake up in the morning, I play drums, I train. I have my calendar. My calendar right now is probably booked into next year, so I know where I'm going. Some tours, some records, some of these kind of things, some clinics. It's just kind of rolling along. I'm not really interested in being a big rock star or something. I'm just interested in working. Okay, I'll say this. There's some guys that are using electronics and loops and sequences. They're doing a great job. Some guys are really good with this. I'm really not very good with all the cables and everything. It makes me nervous. And I approach the drums from a primal standpoint. I believe that I'm kind of a purist when it comes to the drums. I like the acoustic aspects. However, that's not to say I can't enjoy electronic music or electronic drumming. I think it's cool. I personally just don't enjoy doing it. When you mentioned electronic aids to help drummers, I really can't stand watching a guy play with triggers on his drums, and I won't play with triggers on my drums. Unfortunately, when I make records, heavy metal records, they put samples on my drums, and then they use this computer program to straighten everything out, and this makes me just want to puke. I just think it's sacrilegious to the groove. You know, for years people were talking about groove, and now the computer, nobody talks about groove. They're just like, correct it. Just because it's correct or perfect does not mean it's good, and it also does not mean it's musical. There's a lot of things that are perfect shit. So I just don't want to be a part of this. You know, I guess I'm 46 years old now. I grew up in the 70s. I grew up on drummers like John Bonham and Jerry Bozzio and Cozy Powell and Tommy Aldridge and God, the list goes on and on. Steve Smith, Vinnie Colaiuta, these guys are, Steve Gadd, these guys are groove masters. They made records, they played to a click, but they played around the click, and then the band played on the drums. And then you have this magical word called groove. You know, everyone throws the word groove around, but they really don't know what it is. I'm still trying to find out what it is, you know, but unfortunately in some heavy metal circles, you try to put your groove down, and they basically erase your groove. Now, if they had samples and computers that straightened out everybody's drumming in the 70s, there'd be no Bonham, there'd be no Keith Moon, there'd be no Ginger Baker, there would be no Stuart Copeland, there would be no Bill Bruford. This is crazy. You know, all that rim shot stuff, you can hear Bill Bruford a mile away, right? That's his signature, it's his personality. I love to hear those records. Billy Cobham. Simon Phillips. You hear a record, you think, I think that's who it is. If you're a drummer, you know. And I think even people that are not drummers, they still hear something in the drums. And I also think, for the last part of my elaboration here, that I found that music that is natural, no matter what time period it's recorded from, if it's recorded in a fairly good recording studio, a good situation, it will stand the test of time. I can go back, I can listen to a Hendrix record, I listen to a lot of Frank Sinatra records. They recorded the drums with one microphone. I hear every note. I hear the whole band. I hear the horns. And it's real music. This reality. So this is what I'm going for, and this is what when I play, I try to translate this. This is kind of part of my style. It's part of me. That was a long one, wasn't it? Sorry.
No.
I got a lot to say.
That's much better.